This is Bob Sansevier here with Vikings beat reporter Rick Alonzo and Pioneer Press deputy sports editor John Plume. Now, Rick, the Vikings re-signed Greg Lewis. How many other guys are going to re-sign? The big one of those names is Chester Taylor. Do you think they'll re-sign him? Or I'm thinking a team like Chicago, they got Mike Martz as the coordinator. He would fit in really well there as the guy they can use as a third down back and as a dispeller starter. But there's also a couple of guys if Brian Westbrook is healthy, he could fit that bill. And LaDainian Tomlinson, I don't know that he can be a featured back, but I do know he can fill a role for a team.
I think the Vikings should re-sign Chester Taylor. The question is, will they? But I really think you bring up some interesting names. I mean, if you're Chester or his agent, more importantly, you got to be looking at this thing and saying, boy, the market's kind of falling out the bottom here for Chester because all these guys are coming on the market. Thomas Jones, Westbrook, Tomlinson, Darren Sproles. All of a sudden there's a lot more competition out there and some pretty appealing running backs on the market. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But I think Chester and his agent probably should have tried to get this deal done a couple of weeks ago.
See, I would think, John, that Chester wants to see what's on the open market because, frankly, the way he played this year, he is not an injury risk, which is what Brian Westbrook is. He did not have a deterioration in his numbers or his skills, which it appeared LaDainian Tomlinson did have. If you're Chester Taylor, maybe, and the Vikings can't just go out and sign a running back. They have to lose someone. So maybe he does test the open market. Is that what you think will happen?
Yeah, I think he'll end up signing somewhere, probably Chicago or Detroit. And in the end, it might turn out to be a good thing for the Vikings because if you have a chance to sign a Brian Westbrook, granted there's the risk with the concussions, but he knows the offense, he knows the head coach. He can line up as a wide receiver. He can line up in the slot. He can do a number of different things that they couldn't do with Chester Taylor. He knows the blocking schemes, all that stuff, and he's a consummate professional, which might help Peterson and his fumbling issues. And then, of course, Tomlinson's going to be a Hall of Famer, and he'd fit in great here, too.
Well, let me ask you, Rick. I'll ask both of you the same thing. You have a shot at both, Tomlinson or Westbrook. Who's the better fit? Is it Westbrook because he played for Childress, or is it Tomlinson because he can still do some things to hurt it? Maybe he's not what he once was, but I still think he can be productive.
Westbrook is the better fit in terms of the system, but I think that I would take Tomlinson. Westbrook is constantly hurt, as a backup running back or a third down back. You can't rely on the guy because he's constantly hurt, so you don't know when he's going to be out because of a concussion, knee problem, some other assorted problem. I just wouldn't want that uncertainty there. I would go with Tomlinson just because he's reliable.
I like it. I like LT. The injury risk with Westbrook is so high with the concussions, you just don't know how much you're going to be able to count on.
Well, you have to do your due diligence on it, but frankly, either one, and Tomlinson maybe more so because they're both marquee players, but if you want to get Brett Favre back, does getting one of these guys make it more likely that he'd come back just to be tantalized and see what he can do with these guys on his team too? Does it make a bit of difference, Rick?
I don't think so. One other player. They had 10 Pro Bowlers. What more do they need? Favre doesn't.
Two Hall of Famers in the backfield would be interesting.
If Favre doesn't come back, it's going to be just for his own reasons. I don't think it'll be with or without Chester or Westbrook or Tomlinson.
Do you agree with that?
LT sells more tickets.
Well,
if they want to sell tickets,
they got Favre back. They don't have any problem selling tickets.
Either way, but here's the thing: you can sell more tickets out in the concourse with the jerseys if you sign LT. He's a bigger name.
If you listen to the Vikings, there's no room to sell tickets in the or jerseys in the concourse. It's too tight. But that's an issue for another day. Just very quickly, Rick, you were at the Combine. Did you see anyone that you noticed the Vikings were squinting at a little more than others? What did you see and what did you like of what you saw?
I really think that what's interesting about this year's draft is the cornerback position. I really think that they can't go wrong by taking a corner late in the first round. They've got to, I think, just because of the injuries and what's going on there.
Now, we got Draft Central over here. John Plume, your thoughts? I know you've been waking up at like 4 a.m. just to make sure the TV is warmed up to watch this stuff.
3 players to keep your eyes on. I think is the defensive tackle Jared Odrick from Penn State. Had an impressive combine, ran the 40, a little more than 5, put up more than 30 on the bench press. Dan Williams, 6'1", 330-pound, just a run-stuffing junior version of Pat Williams. Another impressive combine, a little more than 5 on the 40, 35 reps on the bench press. And then the guy I think that kind of raised some eyebrows with how quick he is with his feet and how fluid he is in his hips was Terrence Cody, the big defensive tackle from Oklahoma.
You're pushing for these. You like the beefy guys.
I think he's the second coming of a Pat Williams or a Tony Siragusa. So I think those are some players to keep your eyes on here.
Well, we're keeping our eyes on the clock. This is Bob Sansevier with Rick and John. We'll talk again real soon about your Minnesota Vikings.